So, today we're going to unpack a really powerful story. It's about that moment when a patient's medical journey stops being about healing and starts being a battle with bureaucracy. We're going to follow one person's fight, not just for his health, but for a system to just, well, do its job. I mean, it's a question you hope you never have to ask, right? For some people, the fight for their life is immediately followed by this exhausting, draining fight with the very systems that are supposed to be there to help them recover. And that's exactly what this case study is all about. All right, so let's meet the person at the heart of this story, Lang Guan-ho. His experience gives us a real window into the huge challenges that pop up when a patient's very personal, very real needs run headfirst into an impersonal administrative process. Okay, let's start at the very beginning. We're talking about a life and death medical emergency that really set the stage for everything that was about to happen. So, back in January of 2023, Mr. Ho had a massive stroke. And we're not talking about a minor event here. This was a truly catastrophic medical crisis. It demanded immediate, intensive care, and it left him with this long-term neurological pain that he now has to live with every single day. So let's move on to what came next. You see, surviving that stroke, well, that was just the beginning. The next couple of years were all about trying to manage a brand new, very complex and challenging reality, both for his body and his bank account. His health profile just became incredibly complicated. He was suddenly managing the long-term effects of the stroke, but on top of a whole list of other chronic conditions, diabetes, hypertension, renal issues, you name it. It's a situation that requires constant medical attention. Now, this X-ray report really shows you how that medical jargon translates into a tangible physical reality. It notes a loss of the normal cervical lordosis. In plain English, the natural, healthy curve that's supposed to be in his neck, it's just gone, a direct physical consequence of his condition. And here you can actually see what that report is talking about. These are the X-rays showing the altered alignment of his spine. This isn't just data on a page. This is what he lives with every single day. This is that lived data, the actual physical reality behind the diagnosis. And of course, that physical toll comes with a big financial one. This table here shows what he paid out of pocket for most of 2025. It adds up to over $1,100. Every single line item is another visit, another test, another prescription. It's just this constant stream of costs just to stay on top of his conditions. And this is where the story really pivots. Just as he's juggling his health and his finances, he hits a wall. But it's not a medical wall. It's an administrative one. The system itself becomes the antagonist in his story. Okay, so the entire dispute really hinges on these two bills, just weeks apart. In December 2025, a bill was processed correctly. It used his long-standing MediSave authorization, which is a national medical savings plan. But then in January 2026, the system just suddenly ignored that same authorization and demanded cash. This one little inconsistency is what kicked off everything that followed. Now, Mr. Ho didn't just let it slide. He immediately tried to fix it. On January 17th, he sent a formal appeal. The hospital acknowledged it, and then crickets. So on February 8th, he sent an urgent follow-up. And just 2 days after that, he escalated the whole thing to his member of parliament, flagging a potential systemic failure. And his own words? Wow. They reveal the real human cost of this administrative error. In an email, he explains that for someone who's already managing daily neurological pain, getting these automated payment reminders was creating unnecessary physiological stress. Think about that. The system's mistake was literally making him physically sicker. And that's the absolute core of the contradiction here. While one part of the system knew he was actively disputing the charge, another part, the automated collections department, just kept sending him payment reminders. He was being chased down for a bill that he was trying to tell them was a system error in the first place. So, with the hospital system failing to respond, failing to provide any kind of solution, he was forced to take a final, pretty drastic step. He had to escalate the issue to a national authority. On February 13th, he took his appeal to the CPF Board. That's the national body that manages the MediSave accounts. And he wasn't just asking them to fix his bill. He was reporting what he saw as a fundamental systemic failure that could be impacting thousands of other patients too. And you know what? The response was immediate. The CPF Board recognized how serious his appeal was. On the very same day, they forwarded it to the highest health authority in the entire country, the Ministry of Health, for a full review. This whole journey brings us to a final, really critical question. We saw a patient with incredibly complex medical needs who was forced to become his own strategist, his own systems analyst, his own advocate. So it really makes you wonder, when a patient has to spend their precious energy just debugging the system, who is truly managing their care?